Namaste, namaste, beautiful family of light. Good to see everybody here on this Memorial Day in the United States of America. And I just want to mention, I had mentioned before that we did do this wonderful workshop, something I've been wanting to do. And I talk a lot about the Gnostic Gospels. And it is through the Gnostic Gospels that I personally received a higher level of gnosis. And that was fairly recently. I'm just happy. Phew, I got it while I'm still in the body. So I'm really happy, but I'm very I'm very dedicated and motivated to help other people have gnosis. What is gnosis? Gnosis is direct knowing. We go through a period of where, we read our books and we go to different seminars and, we're all of us on our unique spiritual path, whatever that is, whatever that journey is. And then, but at some point, ideally, okay, is that we reach a certain point, okay, where, and for this to happen, you have to understand that we are interdimensional beings. We are not the only ones in this multiverse. That's the precipice first for you to be aware of that, because you won't be able to get to the next level. But all of us that are listening to this right now are what the Gnostics calls pneumatics. Pneumatics, pneumatics. The pneumatics are ones, okay, that have the ability to do the ascension, to totally wake up in this lifetime. Now, we're not the only ones in this generation. They have done it in the past. Most of the information nobody has read or know about. Why? Because it was covered, it was hidden, okay, for 1700 years. And Nag Hammadi found these scrolls known as the Nag Hammadi Gospels. You have the Bruce Codexes like the Pista Sophia and the Book of Jude. Okay, this is important information. What did the ancients write? What was their perspective? And one of the things that I always say is that when we had talked about this on Friday, if Valentinus had become Pope, okay, he was one vote away from being Pope. Christianity, as we know it and how it has evolved, would be completely different as opposed to it being an orthodoxy and a, structure. It would have been more like a mystery school that says the kingdom of God is within you. That's where you go, not outside of you. You do not have to go through a third party. You can go direct. So completely different shift in perspective as to how the early Christians and were really vying for this thought or connection. Now it went the other way with Constantine. And I always say, do you think Constantine was going to give up power? No, I don't think so. Is anybody currently though going to give up power? No, there's some things that just don't change. So when you start realizing this and you then start to trust your own intuition, your own critical thinking skills. Okay, you don't have to go because it's all within. It is all within. So one of the things that I would tell people to do is why not investigate these gospels that you don't know about? Okay, what about the Apocrypha? Like, what's that? The Apocrypha. Now listen to this, and I've mentioned it before, so I'm repeating it, but for those of you that are hearing for the first time, so your great grandparents are reading a different Bible than what you're reading now. Why? Because they had the Apocrypha, the King James Bible, for 274 years. It's been in there. And then in 18 something, they took it out. Like, who said to take this out? They have Esdras 1, Esdras 2, Bell and the Dragon. There's so many. An extension of Ruth. Okay, this is called the Apocrypha. It was in the St. James Bible. It was the original. And then in 18, I forget, I don't have my notes with me. It was like 1849 or 18 something. It was taken out. Who said to take it out? Who says what's in and what's out? And that was Constantine. Constantine and his pals in the Council of Nicaea said, we're going to tell you what's in and what's out. Now, again, Nobody wants to give up power. So this is now, and I've always said, this is the time when all those things that have been buried or secret or hidden, we're in the age of Aquarius, all that stuff is going to start to bubble up to the light of day. Okay, just like Gnosticism, okay? There's a game where the little heads pop out. You had to do like a bang thing. Gnosis, the Gnostics keep on popping up throughout the country. It doesn't go away because you can't hide the truth. You can't hide the truth. The truth is some way going to have it. It may have to go on the ground and come back up, but now it's coming out to the light of day because we can have access to information we've never had before. You could get the Library of Congress on your phone. Okay, so now there's no excuse. And you say, well, gee, I'd like to know more about it. Where you could go, I think, is Gnostic.com. But you're going to see we just came back from Arizona. We just did the most powerful retreat of Mary Magdalene. Where did we get our resources? From the Gospel of Mary. The Gospel of Mary. Okay, and that has been like, no, don't listen to that. You want to hear what she has to say. They also talk about Sophia in the Sophia, okay, in the Gnostic Gospels of Sophia. This is important information, but more important information as you start to read it. When you see something or speak to somebody or, something somebody says, there's a trigger, there's a resonant. Why has so many people resonated to Star Wars? Why did this? Because there's something in it. I was like, this is a distant memory. I'm not sure why, but I think there's something to it. Yes, we are part of a much larger galactic family. We're not the only, species in town. And that's why I like Star Wars. And remember Star Trek? Yes, I'm a Trekkie. Okay. And that went on. They said, oh, nobody's going to do it. Are you kidding? It's like a cult because there's something in it. And what about the Matrix? Okay, I personally watched The Matrix 50 times because there was something in it at the end with the architect, and it said, this is the sixth time. And it was something like, I got to figure this out. I got to thank The Matrix to get me into the Gnostic Gospels, to get me to where I am, because I put me on the path. It's like, I have to understand this at some point. So we are now in a position, I've said it many, many times, okay, that we now have to question everything. Okay, like, did you know that they took out all of these gospels out of the King James Bible? And the King James Bible is based on some other stuff that they did, and it goes all the way back. So you have to contend with people that have certain agendas. In the Apocrypha of John, it tells you why there's been this dominance of the patriarchy over the matriarchy. It was designed. It's right there. It was written 1,700 years ago. This is what's going on. And then that's going to take you on a whole journey about the demiurge and, a demigod. Who created this? Is it the God, the emanating one, or is it another being like us? We're also co-creators. If we can co-create, can't other beings co-create as well? Absolutely. So, it is when I did do the when I did this thing on Friday, the class, I did put a disclaimer on there because sometimes this is paradigm shifting, but we are now ready, right? I think we all say, look at the world. We want the truth. We want to know what's going on. And we need to be empowered to know that we can trust our own instincts. We can trust our own intuition. We can trust our own critical thinking skills. That's okay. Just give me the information. I'll come to my own conclusions, which is very different from indoctrination and handing over your power and saying this is what it is. Nobody. What a spiritual teacher does, empower them, empowers people to look within and empower themselves. That's what we're all here to do. Okay, that's why. And all of us have our own puzzle piece that are vital. Okay, that we come together. That's why it's important for you to show up for your particular puzzle piece that only you can do. And when we can, everybody do that, we snap those puzzle pieces in place and we begin to see the bigger picture. So, on this Memorial Day, I want to acknowledge all those that have fought for freedom. There is some Saint Germain has talked about the freedom. Okay, like, oh, how come aren't we free? Aren't we free? You know what? I'm going to share this with you. And that was Harriet Tubman. And as you know, she was the Underground Railroad, and she freed a lot of slaves. You know, one of the quotes that she said that I remember that vividly to this day. She said, "I could have freed a lot more slaves, but they did not know they were slaves." Oh. Think about it. Sometimes you don't know, you don't know. But now the great awakening is upon us. And I'm so excited. I know what's going on and I know the distractions, okay? But when you begin to see the program from here, from the neutral observer, you can look at it. You do not fall into the traps anymore. And that means you unplug, okay, from the collective unconscious that the program is fear and control. No, thank you. We are sovereign beings. We're stepping out of it. We remember who we are and we're aligning to that. So, with that, beautiful light workers on Facebook Live, namaste. Have a beautiful time. I'll see you next week, same time, same station.